at your odds for the Super Bowl at BetMGM, Chelsa. Right now, you've got Kansas City as the favorite. The Chiefs have overtaken the Bills. They are 4-1 to win the Super Bowl. Buffalo right behind at plus 450. Then you've got the Eagles at 6-1, Niners at 6-1, Cowboys suddenly at 9-1, and then Miami, the Dolphins, at 13-1. I have to say, I don't know why I'm so hot on the Niners all of a sudden, because I think head-to-head, the Chiefs, Eagles, and Bills would have the advantage. Philly is 6-1, just like San Francisco is. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. I just love watching that Niners defense.
Yeah, and they also have postseason experience. We saw them do this before. They took the toughest of roads last year, had to go on the road to Lambeau in the snow against Aaron Rodgers, who was playing at an MVP level last year, not like this year, and beat them. So I think when people remember that and remember the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't even have to be that good, I think that's where people are starting to fall in love with this Niners team, because it seems like a more solid play when you don't have to trust the quarterback to do it all, because he has so many weapons. It just feels like Jimmy Garoppolo can go out there and throw 2 picks and still win games just because the defense is that good. When you're not allowing a single point in 4 straight games in the second half, like that's pretty good. And it's a team that isn't even at full strength. I feel like there are still guys on the injured list that may be coming back, because that was the problem for the Niners early on in the season. They were a good team. They were just heavily injured. And then looking at the offensive side of the ball, it's just so many weapons. It's an embarrassment of riches. Not only do they have one Swiss Army knife in Christian McCaffrey, they have 2. Deebo Samuel's still there. So I think that's why it's very easy to fall in love with the San Francisco 49ers. But let's talk about the Bills for a second, because for a team that the metrics really loved entering the season and for most of the year, and I will say it's not a team that I particularly love betting on just because they haven't been great at covering those big numbers. But now you have them at plus 450, which is not like a ton of value, but it's still a good team. It's still a quarterback who has postseason experience, and it's still a great defense. You buying in on the Bills still?
Yes. Here's the thing about the Bills. The Bills have set the bar so high that we're talking about them like they've been some sort of disappointment. The Bills are 8-3. They're 8-3. They're just fine. They're tied with the Dolphins atop the AFC East. Now, the Dolphins have won 5 straight, so they're sort of the it team right now, and the Jets are a great story. Even the Patriots are at the bottom of the division, but they're 6-5. The AFC East, I would have never guessed that of all the divisions in football that this would be as competitive as it's been. But I don't want to say we're sleeping on Buffalo, but we're not giving them enough credit just because they haven't completely dominated. They're still 8-3, Chelsea. They still have Josh Allen. This is still a team that has all the tools in place to win the Super Bowl. The odds tell you that. But I find it interesting that for some reason we've sort of fallen back a little bit and said, do we still like Buffalo? What are your thoughts on Buffalo? Yeah, they're 8-3. They're going to be just fine.
I don't think it's a matter of us saying that Buffalo isn't good. I think it's just a matter of Kansas City looking that great. Because don't you think it's not a disrespect to the Bills? It's just, at what point do you have to believe what you see in front of you? And the Chiefs have looked all but amazing. And I think they were the big question mark entering this season because the AFC West was supposed to be tough. People are saying, oh, well, it's going to be such a gauntlet of a schedule. It's going to be tough to get out of the division. That's not the case. They seem to be in cruise control of the AFC West, and we know they have postseason experience too. Patrick Mahomes is always in the fold when it comes to the postseason, it seemed. So I think this is more giving respect where respect is due when it comes to the Chiefs. They've earned it.
Yeah, they certainly have. And I think the difficult part of this, if you're a Bills backer, is that this was supposed to be the year that Buffalo had home field advantage in the playoffs so that they host throughout the playoffs. And now it looks like once again, that's going to be Kansas City. That can certainly change, but that would be a huge advantage for Buffalo because in the past few seasons, they've always had to go on the road. Coming up in 10 minutes is now the time to make an investment on a particular team or player. We're going to make our picks when we play Stock Up and Stock Down. She's Chelsa Messenger. I'm Michael Jenkins. If you're listening to us as you're driving to work, we appreciate that. But on your drive home, listen to our boys, Nick Costas and Ken Barkley on You Better You Bet. They give you the latest odds and insights before the games get underway. It is only on BetQL and available on the Odyssey app. Chelsa, the NFL MVP odds continue to fluctuate at BetMGM. Patrick Mahomes, the minus money favorite at minus 145. Jalen Hurts right behind now at plus 350. Tua Tagovailoa 5-1. Josh Allen has fallen back to 9-1. Joe Burrow at 18-1. Lamar Jackson has really fallen back. He's now at 50-1. We had talked about Lamar Jackson and value on him. Still a lot of season left, but he doesn't look like he's going to win this thing. I don't guess our Josh Allen bet is ever going to come home, but there's still a possibility. There's still enough of a season left. It just looks like this is Patrick Mahomes' award to lose.
Yeah, I think the question now is it still enough value on Patrick Mahomes at minus 140, minus 145 to place a bet now? And I think the answer is still yes, because you have a large enough sample size to know that this is not a flash in the pan for Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, maybe he goes out there and has a couple bad games, but right now his numbers jump off the page. He's playing for a great team. He's playing in a great system under Andy Reid. So I think it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, especially the fact that it's only minus 145. And I know it's a tad juicy, but right now, 29 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. He is leading the NFL when it comes to overall touchdowns, and he has that great ratio. So I think it's got to be Patrick Mahomes for me.
I agree. Let me try to sell you a little bit on Joe Burrow and what he's doing with the Bengals. No one is talking about the Bengals, and he gets Jamar Chase back this weekend, and they host the Chiefs. So you mentioned Patrick Mahomes, 29 touchdowns, 8 picks. Joe Burrow has 23 touchdowns, 8 picks. If Joe Burrow comes out this weekend and has a fantastic performance against the Chiefs, and they beat the Chiefs, and Jamar Chase goes off, I guarantee you people are going to start talking about Joe Burrow again, because very quietly, the Bengals are tied atop the AFC North at 7-4, and I feel like nobody's talking about Cincinnati.
I think you buy into the Bengals in that way, and playing them against the number and maybe in some futures markets, as opposed to the MVP, because it's just, I think it's hard to take it away from Patrick Mahomes right now. Even if we see a back and forth game, like even if the Chiefs lose to the Bengals, I don't think it matters that much for the MVP race, because if Patrick Mahomes still has a great game and it's really back on the defense, the reason why maybe they lose this game again, if we're seeing a deja vu scenario of last time out between the Chiefs and the Bengals. So I don't know. I think I'm still on Mahomes.
Yeah, he's definitely the favorite, but I do like the value on Burrow at 18-1. That's pretty enticing to me, especially if he goes off this weekend.